Yumeko and Mary are both enrolled in a school that surrounds itself with students who gamble as their main focus. Mary and Yumeko work their way through people to get to the top, if it be the student council or other students like themselves. So who play the games better? Who was smarter? Let's find out. First is spatial, and the first category is observations of materials. Yumeko gets this one, seeing what is at play much quicker and to a larger degree of awareness, where Mary might overlook some things at first. Yumeko gets this with medium difficulty. Next is observations of space. Yumeko gets this one as well, as she took her surroundings in her favor and looked around for what was available to her. Yumeko gets this with medium difficulty. Last is puzzle solving. This is close, but it seems to lean towards Mary's favor, as she uses this information to come up with real plans to get what she wants, while Yumeko wings it in some cases. Mary gets this with hard difficulty. Yumeko won more points, so she gets the overall points, giving her 21 points and Mary 6 points. Next is interpersonal, and the first category is understanding your own intentions. Yumeko seems to get this, as she knows exactly what she intends to do and doesn't falter or waver away from it in any case. Yumeko gets this with hard difficulty. Next is understanding what you will do. Mary seems to etch this out, as she has more intricate plans to get what she wants, while Yumeko wings it in most cases. Mary gets this with hard difficulty. Next is understanding your limitations. Yumeko seems to etch this out, as she often takes more preparations for the limitations she has to abide by or other when making decisions. The limitations she is restricted by is what she uses to give herself an advantage, where Mary might take some extra time to realize some limitations she has. Yumeko gets this with medium difficulty. Next is understanding your knowledge. This is close, but it seems like Mary would take this, as she has more plans to get what she wants using all the information available to create her plans, while Yumeko wings her strategies. Mary takes this with hard difficulty. Next is adaptability. This is really close. On one hand, Mary learns from her mistakes and quickly adjusts her plans to better serve herself, while Yumeko often never fails the first attempt, even when she's completely new to a game. This would suggest that Yumeko is slightly better her, as she adapts quicker as to not show fault in her decisions. Yumeko takes this with hard difficulty. Last is emotionally control. This easily goes to Yumeko, as we see she never gets frustrated or lets her emotions get the better of her, while Mary has lost her cool several times when things didn't go her way. Yumeko takes this with easy difficulty. Yumeko won more points, so she gets the overall points, giving her 23 points and Mary with 4 points. Next section is linguistic, and this fairly close, but Yumeko seems to etch this out, as the things she says often has a great effect on her opponents, warping their minds and affecting their play style is to play less effectively. While Mary can do the same, it often takes her longer to find the right thing to say. By this logic, Yumeko gets all the categories with hard difficulty, meaning she gets the overall points, giving her 19 points and Mary with a 0. Next is bodily kinesthetics, and this one is hard, as there's not much physical mental factors they do in the series. The most we get is Mary running around during one of her games. By this, Mary gets these categories by default with hard difficulty, as it wasn't anything all that special to consider anyways. Mary gets the overall points, being 15 points, and Yumeko with a 0. Next is interpersonal, and the first category is understanding others' intentions. Yumeko gets this one, as she realizes what others are thinking and often uses it against them when she acts, where Mary might not yet realize someone's intentions, and even if she does, she can't do much about it. Yumeko gets this with medium difficulty. Next is understanding what others will do. This is really close, but it seems to favor Yumeko, as both characters consider what others will do, but Yumeko uses it to her advantage, while Mary might overlook it at first and fail only to redeem herself later. Yumeko takes this with hard difficulty. Next is understanding others' limitations. This one is really close to decide, but it seems to favor Mary to some degree. Mary takes the perspective of knowing others' limitations to use in her plans, while Yumeko often risks herself knowing it's possible she could fail. Mary takes this with hard difficulty. Last is understanding other people's knowledge. This is really close, but for similar reasons. Mary takes this actually using the knowledge to create plans, where Yumeko takes the knowledge and risks it on chance. Mary takes this with hard difficulty. Yumeko got more points, which got her the overall points, giving her 23 points and Mary 6 points. Next is existential, and this is somewhat weird to decide, as neither really display philosophical points, but Yumeko seems to take this as she uses gambling as her main belief as a way of life, where Mary just looks at it as a way to benefit herself. Yumeko takes all these with easy difficulty, giving her the overall points, which gets her 14 points and Mary with a 0. Next is logical, and surprisingly Mary takes all these categories. Mary uses logic to devise plans where Yumeko might wing it. Mary will gather information to better understand her situation where Yumeko will learn on the spot. And Mary will deduce the information, revealing more information to use. Mary gets this with medium difficulty, hard difficulty, and medium difficulty, giving her the overall points, which gives her 33 points. Next is musical, and Yumeko takes all these categories as she uses this very similar to her spatial awareness, being able to tell where something is coming from and what it is. Yumeko gets this with medium difficulty, giving her 20 points, and Mary with a 0. The last section is naturalist, and the first category is understanding of elements. Yumeko seems to take this as she realized how the cup trick worked with the magnets involved to give the student council an advantage. Yumeko takes this with easy difficulty. Next is understanding how elements work together. For similar reasons, Yumeko gets this as well, knowing how the magnet would affect the pieces in the cup to get what would benefit the student council when Mary couldn't do the same. Yumeko gets this with easy difficulty. Last is understanding animal nature. Yumeko seems to get this to understanding people's wants and desires, and oftentimes using it against themselves so it may benefit her. Yumeko gets this with medium difficulty. Yumeko won all the points, which means she got 28 points and Mary got 0. In the end, Yumeko gathered a total of 148 points and Mary got 64 points. This was really a battle between intrapersonal and interpersonal, as these were the sections displayed the most within the series. Yumeko and Mary are fairly similar, but Yumeko always gets to the point faster than Mary does. Yumeko often succeeds the first attempt, and if failed, it was part of her strategy anyways, where Mary often has to fail first to then realize how to win. Yumeko won, so she will be moving on to the next round. Did you enjoy this video, and do you agree with the results? Let me know what you think in the comments.